Alright, most worn fragrances. This is something you guys have been asking me to do again, and I used to do this several years ago. I used to do once a month most worn fragrances of the previous month. So today it's March already, and I'm starting the series again. So once a month I'll do most worn fragrances from the previous month. And I used to do 7 fragrances per video, and that's what I'm doing today. So find out about my 7 most worn fragrances from February coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about my most worn fragrances of February 2022. Lots of good stuff here. Fragrances I've spoken about on the channel in reviews and videos and things like that, and ones that I'm really loving and enjoying the smell of and wearing it the most. So I'll let you know what they are, but before I do, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So let's start right off and talk about the first fragrance that I'm really enjoying. I did a review of this one. This is a flanker of a very long-standing men's fragrance series from the house of LAROCHE. This is DRAKKAR Intense, this one right here. So this particular one, you know, I did my review. I also did an anticipation video, and people said, no, this is a flanker of the original DRAKKAR. I never wore the original DRAKKAR, right? I wore DRAKKAR Noir, and I wore probably like 4 bottles throughout the 80s. This to me smells of, or smells like DRAKKAR Noir. I probably did smell DRAKKAR at one time here and there, but I don't remember it. But this one does definitely remind me of DRAKKAR Noir. Yes, it's a flanker of the original, but to me it seems like it's an offspring of DRAKKAR Noir. It's all about lavender, vanilla, coriander, absinthe, patchouli, oak moss, and clary sage. The combination is really, really intoxicating. It's definitely classic, but updated and modernized, but still, you know, it has those classic touches, and it'll totally take you back to the 80s or even the 70s, since this is a flanker of the original DRAKKAR. And once again, this to me smells like DRAKKAR Noir. I never wore DRAKKAR, and I'm going to say it's a flanker of DRAKKAR Noir, because that's probably which fragrance most people know in the series about. It's DRAKKAR Noir, not DRAKKAR. Most people are, you know, familiar with DRAKKAR Noir, and it's still selling out there. DRAKKAR Noir is still selling at Macy's, but this is a brand new flanker. Has it reached the States yet? I ended up getting a bottle from Europe and loving it. I'm hoping it will come to the States very soon, but in the meantime, I'm letting you guys know about this one. It's DRAKKAR Intense from the house of LAROCHE, or LAROCHE is what I should say. And if you want to go catch my video review of this one, it's on the channel, plus my anticipation video, which actually dives into the original DRAKKAR, DRAKKAR Noir, and few of the flankers that came after DRAKKAR Noir. So first fragrance is LAROCHE DRAKKAR Intense. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Xerjoff's Join the Club 400, which I just did a review of. This is it right here. Man, I'm obsessed with this smell, and it's the intoxicating smell of honey with lots of tobacco, but this goes into a floral direction, and it's intense. It's thick and dense honeyed experience along with vanilla. So it's sweet, it's powdery, and it's very, very vanillic and honeyed. But the tobacco is there. There's a little bit of an ashy dirtiness in there, but lots of floral touches as well. There's definitely a floral presence here, so it's contrasted beautifully with that kind of ashiness from the tobacco note. There's definitely also a floral presence of orange blossom, and when I'm smelling this one, it kind of takes me into a light reminder of something like Love Don't Be Shy. But to me, this is amazing. Absolutely love this one. It's honeyed, it's tobacco-ish, and just a lot of great notes that I really, really enjoy smelling. And the combination is very, very intoxicating. So those are the kind of notes I'm getting here, but the notes are not publicized for Join the Club 400. In fact, they're not publicized for any of the Join the Club fragrances from Xerjoff, but that's kind of what I'm getting the smell of. And I actually really, really love it. If you can go catch my review of this one, I also mention what I think about in comparing it to something like Naxos, because for me, I do get some reminders of Naxos, mostly the tobacco-ish touches and the honey touches. Anyway, Join the Club 400 from the house of Xerjoff is a great, great fragrance. So this next fragrance I did a review of as well is from the house of Commodity. This is Milk Plus, the Bold Milk. All three of them are great. You've got the Personal, the Expressive, and the Bold. The Bold is my favorite. Bold stands for more intense. It's thicker, denser, and I quite like that about this particular fragrance. It's very milky, but also very, very woody, and it does kind of have a gourmand edge to it. No vanilla or honey is included here. There's some sweetness. There is some marshmallowy kind of touches here, and then there's also a little bit of what do you call it? Smokiness, like you've taken the marshmallows and you're toasting it. You know, like there's a toasted kind of an experience. So there's a light smokiness about it. But in the end, it's very, very musky, and of course, there's lots of woods in here as well. So it's a cozy, it's comforting, and it's very, very delicious to wear. If you like a gourmand going into a woody direction, milky lactonic direction, then definitely try Milk Plus in the Bold collection of fragrances. You know, the whole entire collection is great. The Expressive is light, it's a skin scent. The Personal is light, it's a skin scent. The Expressive is between the Personal and the Bold. So it depends on what you're into. And if you want to find out more about the three different versions, go catch my video. But this Milk Plus is a great cozy fragrance, perfectly unique gourmand fragrance experience. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of Celine. This is Rimbaud, this one right here. So Celine is a tough brand to get. There's not a lot of doors for you to buy this fragrance. You can always, or their fragrances, you can always buy them on their website. So it's tough because you can't really go into a store and smell it because they don't have the stores readily available. I think there's 2 or 3 stores in the LA area. There's 2 stores in the New York area, and I think that's pretty much it from what I remember after I called the Beverly Hills boutique and spoke to them. This is their 10th fragrance in the collection, and it's all about lavender. There's some neroli in there, and the typical Orris butter iris experience that is in here as well, that a lot of the Celine fragrances feature. There's definitely wheat accord here, and I was mentioning in my first impressions of this fragrance, I'm not sure about the wheat accord, but I think it does work here. It's a nice, a kind of musty, lightly bready kind of an experience, granular and grassy at the same time. So there's this kind of interesting thing happening, wheat, granular, and then also grassy because wheat kind of grows like grass. So there's that kind of an experience, and plus it's a little musty because if you've ever smelled wheat or flour or anything like that, there's that kind of a smell here. And I think it's a nice contrast to the lavender and the neroli and the Orris butter, and of course the musk and the vanilla in here. The other thing is with this one, I was mentioning it might remind you of Caron Perennium de Caron, Jersey from the House of Chanel. It does, but then again, that wheat accord takes it into a little bit of a direction. Yes, it'll still remind you of those 2 fragrances, but this is definitely, you know, an original fragrance on its own, just because it's featuring the lavender, and those 2 fragrances are lavender as well. Anyway, this is the 4th fragrance, Celine Rimbaud. I quite like it. I'm enjoying it. Definitely not my favorite in the line. There's a few that I really, really love, but I think it's definitely a solid fragrance if you like lavender. And lavender is known for cozy, comforting. Sometimes you put it on at night to go to sleep with because it does relax, and it's a soothing kind of an experience for lavender. So I did a video on the 3 new Tom Ford Rose Garden fragrances, and I had bought a little kit, like a 10 ml atomizer kit of the 3 because the bottles were not available. So I went through Rose d'Amalfi and I loved it so much. I just went and bought the Rose d'Amalfi in the actual bottle now, and I'm really, really loving Rose d'Amalfi. What I like about it is just it's rose. It's kind of a juicy, wet, drippy rose, but you've got this like almondiness wrapped around it, like this powdery almondy floral touch from the Heliotrope. So kind of lightly takes you into a gourmand direction, like a rose gourmand experience. There is a little bit of a spiciness there. There's definitely some spice with some pink pepper thrown in there, but the overall experience is quite delicious, and I quite like it. It's almost like it's a very, very spring-like rose experience. So there's definitely like this freshness, like spring freshness with the rose, but with the light juicy jamminess in the background as well. But then that contrast of this powderiness from the gourmand comes in, so it's almost feeling like it is spring. I'm experiencing spring, but we're not fully into spring yet. There's some coolness and cold out there. So you've got this kind of play of like cold and warm together in this particular fragrance. I quite like it. So it's kind of stuck in the middle between winter and spring. And I like this, you know, this contrast of warm and cold in this particular fragrance, especially since we're dealing with rose and the spices of the pink pepper, and then that kind of like almondy powderiness from the Heliotrope. That's my favorite of the three in this series. I quite enjoy this one. Rose d'Amalfi from the house of Tom Ford in the Rose Garden collection of fragrances. So this next one is super duper clean fragrance from the house of Jeroboam. It's their most recent launch. It's FLORO. And I did recently do some clean fragrance videos. This is not soapy, so I didn't feature this one in there. But to me, it's a very clean, fruity floral fragrance with loads of floral notes: red, green apples, pineapple, white musk, jasmine, sandalwood, cedar, dry woods. There's definitely a clean laundered experience with this one. The flowers that they're using in here is just absolutely the cleanest. It just definitely reminds me of freshly laundered linens and things like that. But you've thrown in that green apple and red apple in here, with just adding this kind of crunchiness, the crispness, this juicy, drippy, appley touch, and then some sweeter, but not necessarily ultra uber sweetness from the pineapple in here. So you've got the flowers and you've got all these unique notes in here with the jasmine as well. And then of course it settles to kind of a woodiness, but a gorgeous fragrance. It's easy to wear. I think this will be perfect to wear when it's warm outside. That clean experience is perfect for hot days, I think. So Jeroboam FLORO is definitely another one that I'm really enjoying. And last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of Comme des Garçons. This is Marseille. I just recently featured it in a soapy fragrances video, and stay tuned. Very soon I've got my top 20, I think it's top 21 Comme des Garçons fragrances. And Marseille is the ultimate in soapy fragrances, I think. It's the ultimate. It smells like soap, and it's just a very clean wearing experience. And I'm absolutely head over heels for this fragrance because it just smells like luxurious soap. It's perfectly named after Marseille, a city known for soap, and it wears beautiful. And I like this whole clean vibe with this one. But it features Neroli, musk, cosmone, petalia, orange blossom, woods, and amber. So you've got this whole citrus floral experience with musk in here, and then of course there's some woods and amber in the dry down as well. I just think this is definitely a totally solid release from this house and perfect to wear. And I think once again this one is also going to be perfect to wear when it's hot outside. It does get a little powdery though, just be warned, but I think it's totally solid. So Marseille from the house of Comme des Garçons. That's the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about of my most worn fragrances from February 2022. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Have you tried them yet? Do you like them? Do you enjoy them? And what are some of the fragrances you're actually wearing a lot of now, currently, or last month? Let me know, put some comments down so I can find out. Anyway, I appreciate you tuning in today to watch this video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Let me know if you like this series. Do you enjoy them? And I'm going to continue doing them. So this is February. I'll do one for March once we reach April. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.